Okay, we are all welcome back. Yeah. And I hope we had a nice time. We are going to continue from where we stopped before the short break. Please, can we all ensure that we are connecting to our remote server? Are we all there? Please, if you have not been able to log into your server, please kindly do that now. Like I said, this time we are going to do more of practical than this. We are going to be discussing, but it's going to be more of practical than just theoretical things. We will see them live. So if you're unable, you've not connected, you still don't have, system. Sorry, please. I make arrangement for system. Yeah, just like I was saying previously, I think I've given a brief explanation of all this, what directory is all about. And like I said, directory is something that is very, very important that we need to understand very, very well as a Linux system administrator and even as a researcher that uses Linux operating system. If you like, we are trying to compare it to Windows. Directory is also what we call folders in Windows operating system, so that we will not mix it up. In Windows, we call it folder. And we also have what we call C drive, D drive. But in Linux operating system, when you talk about the root directory, then you begin to talk of other subdirectory that we have there. And I also said something that we normally use the /. I think we call this / in Linux. So this is /. And that is what we use to indicate subdirectory, probably when we are looking at our absolute paths and all that. That is what we use for the division. So I want us to log into our server right away. I will also do that now. What did you do the other time? Change the size of the font. Change this font size. Only one might be. Is this now? Okay. So what's our IP address, please? 102 dot. So I want to ask something now. I told us something about IP addresses. I told us that this particular server is currently not on this campus. And if I'm in Benin Republic, I can access it. If I'm in Senegal, I can access it. If I'm in the United States, I can access it. So what kind of IP is this? By just that description, public IP address. Thank you. So if I put the type of IP that is currently on your system that you are picking dynamically, I told us we have static and dynamic IP address. If I put the type of IP that you have currently on your system, that means we'll only be able to access it within this location. And another thing I want to bring out from here is that, we went on break, we came back, and we're still able to use this same IP on this server, telling us that it is what? A static IP. So that's the essence of all those things we discussed under IP addresses. Do you understand? So when you are setting up your server, what kind of IP should you give to the server? Static IP. If you want the server to be accessible worldwide, what kind of IP are you going to give? Public IP. Thank you. So that's the essence of all those discussions. So now this is my own IP. I'll click on open. So my username is Bola. My password is, yeah. So I just want a brief. Just let's do a kind of little revision from where we stopped so that we continue. I said something. What did I call this now? This what we call the prompts. You need to understand all these terminologies very well so that when you are speaking as a professional, you don't start calling things, oh, this thing. No. We try as much as possible to use the professional terms. So this is the prompts. I call this what? The first name you have here. What's it? The one that follows is supposed to be what? Okay. Host name. Okay. The tilde means what? And then the dollar sign means what? Ordinary user. Thank you. That means you are getting it. Thank you. I'm not just talking. So I said when we come in, what we are going to do now is navigating around our directory. So the first thing I want us to do is on your own directory, in your own prompts now, we'll be mentioning some command. We might not be able to mention all the commands, but at least the basic command as we navigate, we are going to be making use of them. Do you understand? So the first command I want us to type is okay, another thing I need to say is that, I think I said it in the other class, that our command in Linux are what? Case sensitive. You don't just type capital L and use small s. So whatever you are typing, note that they are case sensitive. So now I want us to do something. I want you to type ls and hit enter. Do that. ls. I will tell you what ls means, but type ls and enter. Can you tell me what you are seeing? I believe most of you might be seeing empty. ls. S is on the screen there. Look at it. ls. S for school. Then L for Lagos. ls. Are you seeing anything? In your own case, are you seeing anything? Just return. That is telling you that in the home directory where you currently have, there's nothing in there. Do you understand? That means it's empty. It's just as if you open a folder. You are saying, list what is inside this particular folder to me. That is what the ls means. So what I want us to do next is that we don't want it to be just empty, but we want to create folders inside it. Hello, class. Follow all these things very well. Those are the things we are going to be making use of in the next other classes we'll be having. So what I want us to do now, because all the files, the folder we are going to create, those are the things we'll be using for our exercises. Do you understand? Okay. So what I want you to type now is, I want us to create a directory. Do you understand? So, and to create, okay, before that, okay, let's create a directory first. That if you want to create directory in Linux, you say make directory. That's the command. Look at the board here. Sorry, we're having it this far, but use mkdir. Remember, I say, okay, small m, k, dir. Then what do you want to name the directory? You can give it any name you like. So I decided to call my, okay, let me call it HPC1. So give yours another name. So let's all do that. Make directory. Mine is HPC1. Please don't use my own name. Okay, if you like, you can use it. Yes. They are all in lower cases. Almost all commands, not all, but all. No, dir. Okay, let me type it here so that you can have understanding of it. mkdir. Look at it. Then you give it a space. Then I call it HPC1. Then I click on enter. I've done that. Note the name I gave to it. And do the same thing. Are we there? Please, I want us to all follow, and I want everyone to do it, please. Because it will lead us to create a number of things, and if you don't do it now, we might not be able to follow all through. So after doing this now, I want you to now do another thing. Type ls again and see if you are going to have anything in there. Can you do that? So what do you have there? So you can see the new directory you created. Okay, that's one. I will also want you to do another thing. This is a directory now. I will want us to create a file. I want to show you the difference between, this is Linux. And when it comes to Windows, you are seeing things more physically. You see what do you call it now? An icon that you can easily recognize. This is a folder. This is a Word folder. This is this is a Word file. This is a JPEG file. You can easily understand. But here, in most cases, we just know that this is a directory and this is a file. So you should be able to tell, okay, what kind of directory is this, what kind of file. But mere looking at a name, you should be able to tell whether this is a directory or this is a file. Do you understand? Okay, now I want us to do something. We want to create a file now. So there are different ways by which you can create a file. You can use the touch command, but what we would be doing now is that we use the cat command to create a file. So just watch what we do now. I will say cat, K-A-T, cat. Do you understand? Then you give it a greater than sign. Then what is shift greater than. Then you give it a name that you want. What name do you want to give the file? Can you suggest a name for us? Day one, okay. You can give it a different name if you like. So I'm calling it day one. Day one. I'm calling it day one.txt. This is a text file, and I hit enter. Now, it prompted out something. It has created the file for me. It's just like when you open a text file. Now it's asking me, what do I want to have inside that text? I can make it empty by closing it, but I can type in something so that the content will show. That's why I'm still having this prompt here. So I can type, I love you all, and then press enter. I can do, if I want to continue my typing, I can type continue, but since I don't want to continue, I just press Ctrl Z. Do we understand what I've just done? Hello, class. Do you understand what I've just done? Okay, you will understand. We'll be going gently and gently. You get it? What we just did now is that we want to create a file. You all understood the way we created a directory. You create a folder. Now, I want to create a file and then have some information inside that file. Inside that file, the information I have there, or that I have there, is that I love you. So to create that file, you are going to use this command. I will explain what this cat means to you. I say cat, then greater than sign. This is the name, day1.txt. That's the name of the file. And then you press enter. When you press enter, it's going to ask you, coming out with a prompt like this green I have here, asking me what do I want to have as the content of the file. What I want to have in the content of the file is I love all. Okay, I wanted to say I love you all, but I typed I love all. Then I press enter and then Ctrl Z to escape. Do we understand what we did? Hello, please, I need a response. Okay, so we all understood. So now what I want us to do next now is that I want us to now do the ls again. What does the ls mean? List the content of the directory. Yes? Yes, so you can go back and do what you're supposed to do. Do your ls first and see what is there. When you do your ls, what do you have? So you have the text here, but the text might likely be empty. You will open that text file later on. so that you know whether it's empty or not. So now, if you do your ls command, just type your ls command. If you type ls now, note all these commands that we are using. They are very important in the course of navigating around your Linux operating system or your files and directory. So you can see now we have, this was the one I created, hpc1 and day1.txt. Let me delete this and this Sunday so that it won't confuse us. I can say, who can tell me? I can say, I think rm, then hpc. So, okay, sorry, rmdir, because it's a directory, yeah. It will work now. Okay, that means there is a file, it's not empty. So there's a way you use, I think, is it -F or R? Okay, you can do it in several ways. Okay, let's do this first. Do you know you change directory? You know that? Okay, let's do this. CD. Change directory to what? HPC. So let's do ls. So we have something inside. Let me just explain something that just happened now. On a good day, when you just use the normal remove directory, and that directory has a content in it, it will not allow you to do what? To delete it. And that's the experience we just had now. Do you understand? But if you want it to delete, there are some other options that you have to pick so that it can delete it. Or if you want to also know what is happening, on a good day, as a Linux expert or as a Linux user, you will know the reason why it wasn't deleted or it wasn't deleting. He said it, or he said failed to remove HPC. Why? Directory not empty. So that means you can't delete a directory that has a content in it. Do we understand? So now I decided to do something to know, okay, are those contents in that particular directory important to me? Before you just say delete it, okay, you now need to check whether the contents are important to you. So before you can do that, you have to go to that directory. Do we get it? Just like the way you navigate around your window with your mouse and cursor. So what we need to do is that we need to now say change directory to HPC. Do you know the meaning of that? That means I'm just saying that go to this folder. I want to change to this folder so that I can have full control or full access to that folder. Do we understand? Okay, now you can see the prompt now. It's showing me that this sign shows that it's locked. It's just as if it's saying subdirectory. The next directory is now HPC. So if I do ls now, so this is what I have here. So now I can use the ordinary remove now because this is just a file. So the difference, okay, let me just tell you. The difference now between this file, you can see, is always in blue color when it's a directory. Then a file will always show white color. Do you understand? So that helps you to be able to differentiate between a directory and a file. Are we getting it? Aha. So please note all these things very well. Like I said, they are very important. They might look simple now, but these are parts of what you need to ensure that you are a good Linux user. So now I want to delete this now. What command will I use? RM. So sometimes you don't need to even type. When you are sure, you can just tap. Do you understand? So it will just suggest if it has any similar file within that directory, at least you get to a place where there is no any similarity between all those files, then you'll be able to get to the exact file. So what I'm trying to say, there are times that you don't need to type the full name. When you press tab, it will suggest, it will give you the complete name, just like the way you do when you are writing code. So it has suggested the name to me, so I can just click on enter. So now I've deleted it. So if I do ls now, you can see it's empty. So if I want to go back now, we have, okay, there's what we call top, lower. This is Okay, maybe let me not discuss that now. When we see it practically, I'll be able to explain better. So I can go back to the directory by saying cd change directory. So I can do a list now, ls. Now I can delete the HPC now because it's empty now. So I can just say rmdir HPC. So when you do ls now, you can see it's not there. So if I want to delete HPCL, so let's see if HPCL. Okay, Sunday. So let me delete Sunday. But before that, let me see whether Sunday has anything in it. So what will I do? CD. So I'm not typing everything. Sunday. I press enter. If I want to know whether it has a content, what should I do? You list. So does it have anything? No. So that means I can easily use what? RMDIR, the name of the. So let's do that also. So I want to go back. I say CD. I press enter. So I say RMDIR Sunday. I press enter. So now I do ls. So I have similar thing that you are having on your. I just want us to have similar. So are we good where we are now? So we have used 2 or 3 commands. We have thousands of commands. But as you grow, by the time we go to other, from tomorrow we'll be using more command than what we are using now. We are just using the basic command now. But do you understand what we've just done? So you know how to create a file by using cat and giving it a name. Okay, let's do something now. When you use the word cat, you can use cat to read a file. Do you understand? So now let's see the content of, probably you have quite a number of files in this directory and you want to know the content of the file. You know you open. But in Linux, in most cases, you can use cat to read it. And then you can also edit it, but we've not gotten there already. So just use the word cat. And then you type the name of the file that you want to read. I press enter. So you can see, I love all. That's what it is in it. But if I want to add to this file, there are different ways by which I can do that. I can use a command called nano. Hello? We'll also get to that now. Yeah, just ordinary cat, then the name of the file. Is to show us, we want to read the contents of the file. It's just as if you are opening a file to know the contents of the file. Do we get it? That's what cat does. And then if you want to edit, we have a command that we use in editing our files, just like we have the nano, we have the vim, we have quite a number of them. But the commonest ones are the nano and the vim. But I'm always comfortable with using nano. Some are comfortable with using vim. Do you understand? To edit. You were asking a question. So let me give you a mic so that. Please, as much as possible, I want us to get these fundamentals very well. I know there are some of you that have a good understanding of it, while there are some that are just trying to learn. So can you ask your question?
I want to ask about the cat.
Okay.
And you just type cat and then enter. Then it's not doing this process.
It froze. And you didn't specify, so you can't, the emulator is not working again.
Okay. Yes, I just
It's
type
just trying
cat
to,
and then
it's
enter.
looking for the file to read. You didn't specify the file. You just telling pick so file to read. But you didn't specify the file it should read. So how can we start? So it's not, so it's frozen now. Yeah. Do Control Z or Control S, Control Z or, no, it's responding now.
It's Control Z now.
I need to
do Control
Z now.
Okay.
Control Z.
Do we understand? So now what I want to do is that I want to just show you there are different ways by which you can add to this file. So but I can say that, okay, nano cat. So Sorry. Nano day. Can you see? So this, I can decide to add to this content of this file. Do we understand? So if you want to say something. Okay. So if I want to add to it now, what I will just do is just to press enter, and the other time I said I wanted to write I love you all. So I made mistake by putting I love all. So I can edit it now and say I love you all. So I have what I wanted to write the other time. Then I can say this is covenant. So what? I can exit or I can write out. If I want to exit, because I've added some things to it, you ask me if I want to save my changes. So if I say Control X, it's asking me, do I want to save? So what will I do? I press S. Watch, please. Let's follow. I said there are different type of editors, or we have Nano and we have VIM, but I prefer using Nano. And what do we use it for? We use it to edit our file. Do you understand? Do you have it on your system? Are you doing what I'm doing, please? And are you getting it? Okay. So now I've done some modification on this file. When I created the file, I said I made an error. I wrote I love all, but it's I love you all I wanted to write. So after creating the file, I went back to the file to edit it by putting I love you all. And then I wrote this is covenant. Do you understand? Now I've done my changes. I want to save. I press Ctrl X. It asks me if I want to save those modifications. What will I say? I will say yes. If I don't want to save those modifications, I will say no. But I say yes. And it's asking me, do I still want to maintain that name? day.txt. You know, that was the name I gave it the other time. I still want to maintain the name. I press enter. Okay. Ctrl X. You will see the option by your computer. So, look at it here. Ctrl X. X as in saxophone. That means you are telling it to exit the prompt, to exit that particular home. So, and it will ask you if you want to change. Yeah. So, did you make any change? No, it will ask you if you make any change. Oh yeah, I want you to do cat and read that file and see the content. Cat, the name of the file. Please, if you are doing anything and you are not getting it, it's there. And probably you have saved it that you didn't take notice of. So please, as you are doing it, you might be encountering some little. That's how you learn. Ask questions. Don't just be silent. Ask your question. So do we get it now? So if you want to see whether those changes you have made actually exist, what are you going to do? You are going to open the file again and read it. And what do you use to read your file? Cat, exactly. So now what we need to do now is I want us to use some other command. I want us to create more directory. We have HPC1. So I want you to create 3 additional directory inside this home directory. Okay, before we go into that, let me just quickly mention this. If you want to know where you are per time, there's a command that will say print working directory. I don't know if you've heard of that before. PWD. So let's do that so that you know the exact place where you are, because it's also very important while doing some work. So you type PWD. It means what? Print working directory. So when you print enter, you can see what is showing me. I'm in my home directory under Bola. It's specifically for me. Do you understand? So that is where I am. So inside this directory, I want you to create additional directory, which we call folder in window. We created just only one before, HPC1. So I want you to create additional ones now. HPC1, HPC2, HPC3, HPC4. We are going to be experimenting with this using our command. So do that now. Directories. No, I want you to now create 3 additional directories and give them a name.
All are the root.
Yes, all are the home, not root. Yeah. Have we done that? Then okay, let me just say this now. Okay, have you created it? If you have not created the directory, instead of doing it one after the other, you can use one command to do as many directory as you want. Do you understand? Let's do that. Since you know how to create one directory, let's see how you can create multiple directory with one command. So just do make directory and list those directory one after the other and click enter. And that's multiple directory. But you now mkdir, that's make directory, HPC2, HPC3, HPC4, and HPC5. It's just space. So let's try and do that. Let's see. That's mkdir HPC2 space HPC3 HPC4. Press enter. Oh, sorry. So when I do ls, you can see I have all the directory now. Do we understand? Do we understand? This is just creating multiple. What we first did was a single directory. Then we play around the directory with some command. Now we want to do some manipulation and navigation within directories. Like I said, directories is very key. That is where you play around, you copy, you move, you delete, you save. You do quite a number of things because you work with files and directory in Linux very well. That's what it's all about. So we've created one, and now we say, okay, we want to create multiple directory. How do we do that? Make directory 1, 2, 3. Do we understand? And what we just did now is to confirm whether the directory we created are existing. And here we have found then HPC2, HPC3, HPC4. So are we all there? If you are not there, please kindly signify. If you are having any difficulty, kindly signify. We are there. Okay, what I want us to do next is I want us to copy a particular file into a particular directory. As we are doing it, please note, and you can have a place within your notes or later on. Be noting we are started using commands that are the basic command. This is just a basic class. We have used up to like 3 or 4 commands now. So what we have used, who can mention the directory? The commands we have used. We have used cd, which is change directory. We have used pwd, print working directory, and you know the function. We have used what? ls. What does list directory? List the contents of a directory. We have remove directory. We have used nano to edit file. We have used cat with greater than sign to create a directory. To create a file. Yes. And what again? We'll still be using. Now we want to use copy. CP, copy. And then what do we want to do? We want to copy. Let's copy this day 1 and put it inside HPC1. So what do? You type CP. What's the name of the file? Day 1, like I said, you just click on enter. And where do you want to have it? HPC1. Can you do similar thing? Yeah. The CP, copy. It means copy. I want to move a file from a particular directory. That's from. We have created a file before, which I said, yes. Yes. No, we are copying it too. We are not moving it. There's different when it comes to Linux, exactly. There's difference between move and copy. So let's see. Okay. So we're having 2 copies of it. Do you understand? Yeah, CP is the command. Then the directory, sorry, the file name, the one to move. Then the folder the directory is going to. If you check that folder, okay. No, it's just in the home directory now. Everything we have created, that's HPC1, the day one file, HPC1, HPC2, HPC3, HPC4 is actually in the home directory because we have online so that they can hear your question.
Okay.
So we have HPC1, HPC2, HPC3, HPC4, and that file inside the home directory.
Okay, that file is not in HCP1.
No,
they
no,
are
it's
all
not
in home directory.
Home directory.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that file is in HCP1.
Yeah, yes, that file, HPC. No, we call that file
The text file.
Is in,
It's not in HCP1.
it's not in HPC1.
They are all in home directory.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, I
So
get
now we want to now copy that file.
Okay.
It's just as if we want to save it inside
HCP1.
HPC1. HPC1 is the directory,
I
like
understand,
a folder.
I understand.
So I want to have a copy of it inside
the folder.
Inside that folder.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will now use copy to move it to copy it there.
Okay.
Yeah. So have we done that? So you just press enter. So if you want to confirm if you have it, what are you going to do? Wait, I want someone to answer because this thing I want us to also be thinking along with me. I don't just want to be typing. That will help us to understand, most especially for some of us that are just coming up, so that you can think and bring up things yourself. Now, I just did a copy. I want to confirm what I copied, HPC1. I copied it into a directory, and the directory is HPC1. Someone should come up now. Please, it's not that I just want it to be interactive, and I want us to learn from one another. I want someone to come and confirm that I have that content, day1.txt in HPC1. How do I confirm if I have it there? Who can do that for me? No. Not to say it. I want you to go and do it. I said this is a practical class. Mrs. Sweet William. Okay, the blues are raising up their hand. Okay. I want to confirm. Class, please, let's listen. What we want to do now is that we want to confirm if what we copied from the home directory, if we have it in HPC1. So she wants to help us to confirm. Correct. Do we have it there? Okay, so let's clap for her. So, okay.
I'm seeing another command like, even if I'm not there, I can use ls, then the folder, the directory, show the content, right?
Now, ls, you are saying list the content of that directory. So it's not compulsory you go to that directory. Exactly. What you are just saying that, okay, oh yeah, you know what ls is? Read the content of a directory. And you're already within the same home. If it's in another place, you won't be able to achieve that. It won't see it. But you're in the same place, so you can say it should read it for you. Do we understand? He asked a question now, please, and we will do it so that you see what he just said. Because in Linux, it's not one way to the market too. You have different way to the market. So it's not about what I said alone that is correct. There are other alternatives, just like when you are coding. Someone can use 10 commands to achieve one small thing. Another person can use just single command. I mean single code. Let me not say command. Single code to achieve the same thing that you are using 10 commands to achieve. Do you understand? So that's what he just said now. So what he said is that, okay, instead of moving to that directory, let me do cd. I'm in the home directory. And the good thing is that inside that directory, I have all the content there. So I can use that command. It has a path, exactly. So now I can just say ls. list what is inside this folder for me by just typing ls hpc. You can see I'm typing the full command now, because if I type tab now, it's going to be confused because we have something that all of them carry HPC. So it won't know the exact HPC I'm referring to. Do you understand? So I can't use tab at this point in time. Do you understand? Okay. Yeah. So, but now I have to type in the full command. So I put in 1 and I press enter. Do you see that we achieved the same thing but going through different routes? Do we get it? Yes, are you getting it? I know you are getting it. That's why. Are you getting it? So that's that about that. Okay, now we have done copy. So I want us to do, we want to rename now. We want to rename. And if we want to rename, we use the command mv. We call it move. You can use move to do quite a number of things, but what you want to use it for now is just to rename a file. Do you understand? So to rename a file, we use mv, and we want to rename this file day 1. Do you understand? So before I rename it, I'm going to use what? Move command. So I'm going to just say mv, this file, and then give it the name I want to rename it to. So I will just say mv. So what's the name of the file? Day 1 tab. So what do you want to give it? Let me use, I don't want to use my glasses. Can you see? Okay. Give him the mic. Let him ask the question. Okay. We are trying to do something. I said we are trying to rename a file. And to rename a file, we use what command? mv command.
So here I put mv the one.txt today, and it's saying that cannot star the one.txt such file or directory.
Are you within the directory?
No such file or directory. But if I type ls here, the name of the file of the one.txt. Okay. Sorry.
You've seen your error.
I've seen your error.
Thank
Text.
you very much. I love that he himself discovered the error himself. So that's the best way to learn. And that's why I say it's more good we do practical than just saying move is used for moving file, move is used to rename file, copy is used to copy file. All those ones, by the time you might not be able to do anything. So it's good, most especially for those of us that are just coming up. Let's do it together so that when you have little errors, we can correct it. And then by the time you leave the class, you can go ahead and develop yourself. From tomorrow, like I said, we'll be doing more advanced things than this. So do we understand? Do we understand? Okay, the next thing we want to do is, okay, I want us to create an additional file now. I want us to create one additional file. Let's create the file we deleted or we renamed. You know, we renamed day 1 to day 2. You just rename it. The content still remains. Understand that? The content still remains. So I want us to now create another file named day1.txt so that we have 2 files. So can we do that? I want us to create another file and call it day 1. You know, we have renamed the former day 1. But the fact still remains that the former day 1 is what we are calling day 2 now. That means the contents of that file still remain. The I love you all. And then this is covenant. If you read this file now, the content still remain. Yeah, the content of that day 1 is just the file. We just give another name. Exactly. So, but now I just want us to create another file, day 1. So you will see what you want to do now. So what we want to do is, You know the command we are using? Cat greater than shoot. So now it's asking for what do I want to have as the content. So I can have a different thing this time around. So what do you want to have as a?
Thing inside that the one has been moved to the so the one is not empty.
It's not that the day one still, the content of day one still remain inside it, but we just rename. It's just like your project now. You know your project, you have all the content of, and formally the name of the file is Bola, or project. So you did some little editing. You can answer, even though you didn't even do edit, you just felt, let me have it in another name. It's not Bola that owns it. It's Comfort that owns it. So I just rename it Comfort. So the content still remain what it's was. So that's what we did at first. So that's why it was formerly day one, and then we rename it as day two. So that's what we just did. So what we want to do next is that we want to create another file, but we want to name it day one. It's just another fresh file. The former one has gone. And then we want to have a new content in it. Do you understand? So what should we have there? I love the people from, I love guys. I love guys from Africa. So I create enter. See, asking me if I still have some other thing, but I don't have anything. I close. So if I do ls now, I have 2 files, 4 folders. Sorry, 4 directory. Do we get it? Do we get it? We have to be a little bit fast. Normally we are supposed to close each day by 5 o'clock. And then it's just as if we have 30 minutes, though we had some delay. Probably we might extend it to, if you, okay, let me ask first. It's proper. Okay, sorry. Sir, can we extend the class? No, can we extend it? By yeah. Normally every day is 5. And that's why I say I should. If I, okay, but if the, what? That's what I'm saying. I've not even done half, but I will ask them, sure. Eh?
How many
No, I wanted to suggest 6.
6. Where are you now? Creating and managing files.
Yeah.
Okay. Installing software on Linux.
Teaching.
And user administration.
Teaching.
Linux SSH.
How many hours
do you take it to do?
Everything in your lecture notes now.
No, I just listed them. Those ones will be practical.
Okay.
I've done the theory. So everything we'll be doing is theory.
How many hours
It depends on their cooperation, their understanding, and the questions.
But they've been flowing.
No, they've been flowing, but I need to.
Yeah,
Exactly.
how's them now?
Okay.
Can,
Okay. So, class, I need to take your view. Normally, I know we had some delay before we started, and I believe by tomorrow, everything will start moving smoothly. We are going to follow the timetable. We are supposed to end the class by 5, but we have not covered what we want to cover. So, and I have to get your own permission. So, what are you suggesting? Can we extend? Or you go, if I give you the syllabus, you go and do little research on yourself. What do you suggest? Let me get your suggestion before I say my own. Or I should suggest my own. So you have to agree with me before I can say anything. Agree, but can you just give your own suggestion first? You have the right. So let me know. I'm not imposing. I won't impose anything, please. Should we extend? We're supposed to stop by 5. This is 4:30, and I know we have not even covered half of what we're supposed to cover. Well, it depends on how fast we are. I can say maybe in the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. But if you can just give maybe probably it is 6. I want us to do at least something on 5 permission after we are done with all this navigation. So if you can even do little thing, that will assist me in taking some aspects, most of the 5 permission aspect. We can extend. So he said we can extend. Who second? Is there any objection to that? Why I'm saying that is because
Okay. Sorry, sir. I discovered that the day1.txt, the day2.txt, they are file on their own, and HPC 1, 2, and 3, they are directory on their own, which means for the day1.txt and the day2.txt might not be on any of the directory. Is that?
yes, is
They might not be in any of the directory. They are just
this
inside the
directory.
server.
Yes, no, they are inside like the home directory. Okay, look at something. I said something here that if you want to know the directory we have. Okay, where did I do the PWD? Okay, okay, it has. Okay, just look at. So it's a very good question. Just watch. I like that. You are trying to connect things so that you know how things operate. It's not that just cram command and you don't know how things. So look at this now. I said pre. If you want to know where you are currently working, look at it. This is where I am now. And like I said, when you see this forward, we call it forward slash. It's a subdirectory. So everything we are currently doing, if you would want to know where you are, that means you are under your user Bola. Do you understand? So this is where I am currently. So you can as well say you are under this directory. Home, then Bola. Do you understand? Do you understand the question he asks? Eh? Do you understand? Okay. If you have some things to have, you can always, since you are an instructor also.
Just a observation.
Okay.
It's like you're not sharing the shell.
So do we understand? Do we understand? Yeah. So I've not been sharing this part since it's the other PowerPoint that has been showing. So the people online are not actually seeing what we have been doing since. So sorry for that. The people online, we are quite sorry for that. So the next thing we want to do now, we've talked about move, remove. Now we want to delete. We want to entirely delete a file. What did we use the other time to delete rm? So now we want to delete. So what should we do? Okay, we've done that. Have we deleted a file? Yes, we did that. We did that. Okay. So now the next thing we need to do is, and then we have moved a file. We have removed a file. Then now we want to start moving from one directory to other, which we have done. Moving from one directory to other. Okay. Okay. Okay, like I said the other time, let me just mention two other things you can use in creating a file. You can use the touch. You call it touch command. Touch. Then let me call it D3. If I do ls, so I've created a file. If I do a cat on D3 and press enter, you can see it's an empty file. That's why it's not showing anything. Do you understand? So you can also use the touch command. Like I said, there are different ways to the market when it comes to the use of Linux. It's not just one way to the market. Do we understand? So now we want to do search. We want to search for content in a file. Hmm? No, you just create a file for me.
Sir, the difference between touch and going using cat is cat you put content in the file.
You can put content. You can put content. But touch, you can just do it. But now, if you want to add something to 3 now, you can use what? Who can tell me what you use? If you want to add, exactly. If you want to add content into your file, you want to edit a file, there are file editors. We call them file editors. You can use either, I said you can use Nano or Vim. But like I said, I'm more comfortable with Nano. You can be more comfortable with Vim. So from what you asked now, I can say Nano, Nano what? So I can begin to hack whatever I want to hack. So I can say Control X. Yes. Enter. So if I say, I can now say cat D3. So you can read the content. So there are times, in most cases, by tomorrow, you begin to see that you will need to be editing your file or changing some word within your file. So there are ways by which you can search for this content of the file, because there are times that you have file with large content. It's either you are going through it one after the other, or you do a kind of search on the content that you have within that file. Do you understand? So now we'll be using some command. There's a command we call grep. So you can use that to start. You have different commands, and I said we might not be able to go through all that. But probably what we can do is to give you a node that you can develop, and there are quite a number of nodes online that you can use. But we just want to introduce you to some of these bases. Then you go and build on it. That's the essence of this class, because there's no way we can cover line. If you want to take phi alone, it can take us the whole of the day. So we just to pick the basic things so that we can understand it very well, and then you build on it. So I want to use this command now, grip, then probably love. Then where do we have, I think day 2. You can see, like, this is love. That's why I highlighted it, because that is what I picked. By tomorrow now, you begin to see the need for us to be editing file, because those are the things that actually controls your system, most especially when we talk about your configuration file, which you will see in your etc directory. So you should know there are different ways by which you can search for file, but one of the simplest ways is to use this command to search for your file, most especially when you know what you want to do. So instead of you searching, you can also, I can decide to say, okay, let me first open the file by saying nano, and then, sorry, I'm creating this nano 2, you can use it to create a new file. That's what it's about to do, and then you give it a name. But that's not what I wanted to do. Nano day2.txt. So in most cases, most of those configuration files, they come with plenty of content that if you want to edit them, you start searching. Though you can use Control W, and then you begin to search one after the other to search for what you want to do. Look at this now, like you are more comfortable with nano. And then, like I said, me, I don't know how to cram. If it comes to cramming of things, it's quite difficult. But try to understand things if you are an engineer. So you can, this is just like a manual for you to understand how to navigate within this file. If you want to exit, you do what? Control X. If you want to get more help, you do what? Control G. I didn't show you this initially, but there is need for me to also let you know. If you want to write out, Control O. If you want to read, and so on and so forth. Do you understand? So now let's assume what I just did now. I use what? Grip command. I can as well say, I can also say Control W, and then I will type the word I am actually looking for. If I say Control W, it's asking me what do I want to search for. If I say love, it will help me and search. So you see it has highlighted love for me. So if I have more than one love, it's going to highlight it. Why I'm saying this is that when you start going into configuration, and configuration file is something that you have to be very, very careful while editing. And most times it's always good to create a backup in case you misconfigure and you don't even know how to go back. Because when you misconfigure like this, probably sometime it has happened to me that I just felt that there's no need. I will just do some configuration and that file will not even know what happened. So I will be searching and searching. So sometimes you might end up doing a fresh installation because you have misconfigured a single file. And if you don't have a backup of that file, that means you will start the whole work afresh. So it's always recommended, most especially when it comes to configuration file, to create a backup. And you have done something like that today by using what? Which command did you use? You use copy, and you can move it to wherever you have. Just give it maybe .backup, or you give it the date that you actually back it up. It's just as if you are saving something. You are creating backup. So have this in mind as a system administrator, that before you do any configuration, you have to back up. And I didn't explain, okay, I was saying something about the directory the other time. The etc. We can, okay, let's go there. Okay, another thing I need, okay, Jesus. I want to jump something, but I think some of those things are very important. Even, sorry, Control X. Did we go to the root directory at all? No, which is very, very important. Very, very important. So if you want to go to, what is the sign for root? From the directory I showed you the other time. Yeah, /. So how do you go to the directory? CD. So let's do that, please. So if you do ls, you will see all those files that we saw the other time. Sorry, we didn't do that. I know we will omit quite a number of things. So all those files, you saw the files I showed you the other time. This is the root. And then you now have all this inside the root. Do you understand? Ma, you didn't see it. You didn't see this. You can see beam, SBIN, etc. I'm talking about the etc now. And you can see their function. Their function are actually listed here. Sorry, let me also allow the so can we see it now? I'm talking about this folder now. We'll go in here now and see the various files we have there. They are where we have our configuration file. And then also here to var. These are some of the most important. Then you have this optional data. Then the home directory. We have worked on the home directory. The media, that's your media devices. But let's look at this. This is important. So now, we have to go to etc. Now, if we want to go to etc, we don't need to put what? We're already in the root directory. We don't need to put the roots. So we just go there directly, CD, E, tab. Sorry. CD. So you can see we have quite a number of files. And one of the files you normally work on as a system administrator like me, I work on the network configuration file very, very well, almost all the time. So that, okay, you can change your host name, host configuration. So let's just work with few of these files, and so that I can show you how you can search with it. So let's read any of those files. Which one should we read? Let's read this, host.config, and see. So no, we are not doing, okay. So what should we do now? I want to know the content. Okay, let me start with this, host name. You can edit your host name. What did I call the host name for this machine? Bola. So if you want to edit, cat, can you see? Now, because if it's your normal system, you just go and type it, do edit and type it. But in this case now, the name is Bola, host name. So like I said, almost all your configuration that runs on your system, on your server, everything is in the etc directory. It's just for you to know the right place to pick it from. So for the host name, this is it. So what will I do? If I want to edit this Bola, I want to give it another name. Let's watch what will happen here now. So I can say, what should I use? I can use different things. So if I like, I can use nano. So he said unreadable. So let's use the sudo because it's probably because you don't just, it's not ordinary user. You can't make mistake here. It's a very powerful. So you have to have the root privilege to be able to do this. So let's do something now. So what should you do now? Sudo nano eh? Oh, sorry. You can see it's giving me another new file. So you see now I have the privilege. And one thing that is always advisable when you are working with Linux, don't work as a root. Never. It's not always. It's when you have something very important to do that you have to be working as a root user. Do you understand? So don't just be using the root privilege if you have it. Use the normal user. Then if you have something very important to do, you can do sudo to root and begin to use it. So I want to change this. And this will have effect on all of you because we are all using the same system. So what I want to do is I want to call it HPC. Now I gave it HPC. So now what do I do now? Sorry, someone should come and do it for us. I'm doing something now that I'm not supposed to do. Who can tell me? Though this is not that important. I can easily trace my error if I make any mistake here. But I didn't create a backup. A copy of it, a backup of it. There are files that you will open that contains, as in, you see quite a number of things. So if you even make your changes, you might not be able to get to the roots again. And then you don't know what you have done. But at least, they say, the Yoruba say that if you can't continue to go to the front, then if you don't know where, you can always find your way back. Do you understand? That means you can restore back, at least if you can't continue. So that's the essence for the backup. So if you make any mistake, you can always come back to where. Ma? And we are using the same folder. I'm the admin to this server you are using. And if you don't have the sudo right, you cannot do it. You are not a sudo one. Or you want me to give you? I should not bother. If you need it, tell me if you need it. Sorry, I'm getting. So what am I? Jesus. So Control X is asking us if we want to maintain our changes. What should we do? We say yes. So we press enter. So by the time we do, okay, let me do something so that we see the effects. What should I do? I can exit or restart. Or, you say? Source. Source. What is source? Okay, to reload. Tell me, I've heard of that. Like this? The file name. I did it. Yeah. Okay, tap. You want it to reload, Abby? So what should we do? We want the effect, but it's supposed to take. I changed the host name, but I need to restart before it can take effect. I know you need to. Okay, so what? So with this, it should work.
Query for the post name. Like
Yeah, come and do it. Come and do it.
nano post name.
The host name of the VM itself. The host name of the VM is Bola. So I now change it to HPC Workshop. The host name is Bola. So it's supposed to be showing at HPC Workshop. For this, is there a way that it can show? Probably if you restart the server. Well, let's just. No, 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 no. Okay. Maybe that's what eh? Yeah? So, but if I restart now, that means we're all disconnected. But let's see. We are all learning together. So let's just see what will happen. So you will all relog in. Do you understand? But let's see what will happen.
Now not see Bola again.
So what should you do? Someone should be pinging that machine for me. Okay, we didn't mention that. Do you know what we use ping for? To check whether a particular server is online. So someone should ping that machine for so that we know when it is online. Ping, P-I-N-G. If you are using normal window, you have to do a continuous pinging. That's space -T. But if you are using Linux, there's no need for that. The server is up. Normally, sometimes when you restart the service, you're supposed to. What's the IP? 102 dot. Dot. Okay, it has taken effect. So it's showing it's no longer on your system towards it showing. So that's better so that you can differentiate. So that's the host name of the system. Do we get it? Though, like, what we also need to do is when you restart the service, well, there are times, me I've faced it sometimes, that, but it's not common actually. You restart the service that is actually controlling the changes you have done. So that should make the changes you have done take effect exactly. So do we understand? Please, at this point, I will want Mr. Dari to just come and continue the class, please. So it's just going to be a very short one, please.
Hello? Okay. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. So how are we enjoying today's class? Good, very good. I think me have gained a lot today, even though I know a bit of Linux. I've gained some things today. Please, who is helping me with my slide? My slide. Slide. It's in the flash. It's in the flash. No, yeah, I gave it to him. Okay, so how do you represent it? I give it to okay. Okay. So I think today we've taken a lot of Linux commands. We've taken MKDIR, we've taken CP, we've taken RMDIR. But I just quickly want to share something. In case you have a Linux command and you have no idea of what it does, there is a manual in Linux. You just always type man and the name. Okay, you can always type man and the name of the command you want to run. So let's say RMDIR. Man. So this will display a manual of what the command does, the different arguments you can use in the command, and the way you can run it. So to move down, you could just press space bar. So it will show you on the information, the author who created the command, man, M-A-N. So short form for manual. So any command you have in Linux that you just want to quickly know what it does, you can easily type man with the name of the command. So I give you my flash drive now. The green flash drive.
Just switch off when you are close to the speaker. Which of them will you do? Do you know those are?
Hello? Is it working? So before we move forward to other commands, I just want to ask, does anyone have a question on the commands we've done so far? Any issues, or if you want us to? Okay, please. Okay, we are all learning, yeah.
The command prompts. So what's the
Okay.
difference?
So command prompt is mainly used in Windows. So command prompt is the terminal of Windows. So Linux has its own specific terminal that you can use to run commands. So you know there are two ways of accessing OS resources. You can access it via the GUI or the terminal. So in Windows, we have command prompt, which is similar to terminal in Linux. Yeah. So any other questions?
Okay. I want to say that the command are not the same or in Linux and in Windows.
Okay, yeah, that's
It is
important.
not the same
but
command.
Yeah.
It is not the same syntaxes, but sometimes it is we can do the same thing.
Yeah, but something that is
It is
close
different.
to Linux is PowerShell. So in PowerShell, you have very similar commands to Linux, but not everything. Like commands like grep, if I want to search a text file, you don't have it in, if I recall, in PowerShell. But you also don't have it in command prompt at all. But it's just a way of accessing the OS resources or working with your operating system. I think in the start we don't have GUI, but it became very complex for people to work with command line. In the start, when Windows or Linux came out, there was no GUI. Everyone had to work with the command line system, but it became very complex for people to work, and only tech people could easily use operating systems. So more and more people wanted to work with the system. So people started to create GUI, graphical user interfaces, to make it easy for people, because you can always easily work with your GUI than command line. So to make it easy, but when you want to do some intensive tasks, it's always easier using command line. When you do want to do some high performance tasks, then you use your command line. Okay. Yes. Yes. Uh, so this course is mainly on HPCs, and for HPCs, yes, you could run HPCs with Windows, but I think we plan for Linux. But if you want training, I could show you some resources. Okay, but you have Putty. It's just, you could always use. Okay, but there are so many ways to SSH to a server. So many ways. You could also install. What version of Windows do you use? What version of Windows? Okay. PowerShell. Yeah. Okay. Maybe after the class I can show you. Right now we're talking about persistent systems, settings, users, group, and file permissions. So here is the outline. Okay, so persistent settings, this is just a way that, okay, let's say you log into your bash shell and you make some changes. So how do you make those changes stay over restart? So when you restart, everything you've done clears off. So how do you persist those settings? So you can do that using your bash profile and your bash RC files. So every time you log into bash, the commands in bash profile or bash RC are run. I need to speak out.
You need to come down to their level. To perfectly explain, that's another challenge. Some of them don't. That's why those terms are very, very important.
Okay.
Don't go deeper.
But this one is also useful. Well, I could just keep to users. Okay. So persistent settings. So I think I should make it much more interactive. When we say persistent, what does it mean? Someone could help me out. Persistent. Okay, please.
We can say persistent is something that could be set on the time. Is over the time. Okay, over the time.
Okay, something that could be set
remain
over
the time.
Okay, thank you very much.
I see some of them are tired, they can't comprehend it.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe we can. Because we are not at the same level. And we go on in 2 percent like that. It should not be so much.
Okay, you have. Okay, please hold on. So I think, please give me 1 minute.
We start to understand this thing very, very well. And if you upload so many things to us, we will fall out of place. So and we'll all tire. So I guess we need to settle down, get our act together. By tomorrow you can bombard us with whatever you want. No problem. But today as it is, I know this man. Maybe yesterday we did.
They are tired. This is the next topic. And this topic is still at least I think they are tired. So what are we? Should we plan 1 hour in the morning tomorrow for 9 months before we start the second day? Okay. And they will need it. They will need it for the subsequent. Since we don't have any ceremony tomorrow, so they should come. We are starting 9 in the morning. So let's make the budget breakfast 9 start 9 exactly. So round up.